All right, Daryl Bates from Bad Mojo Media, and today we're back in the studio again. And man, do we got a treat today. We got one of the coolest cats around. Johnny, I was going to call you Johnny Danger, but it's actually Johnny Angel from HardRock, from all the way from Billings, Montana, right?
That's right.
Rocky Mountain, let's get stoned, right? Get stoned. But no, actually we're talking about the epoxy that this gentleman does. So we just got a lot of good stuff I want to talk to you about. First of all, we're so cool and our future's so bright we got to wear shades. But that's a good thing, right? It's like the weird
besides
aura.
so bright, I just wish the weather was so nice.
Yeah, right. We'll just do the
there we go. Let me
Stevie
see.
Wonder.
Hold on. Let me see. Can I see? There we go.
But
there we go.
I am really happy to have you here, man. I mean, I've known you now for some years. I've had an opportunity to see every world of concrete, at least.
That's true.
You know, I don't know that you make it to Vegas enough, but I certainly haven't made it to Billings myself, right? So I'm just as guilty. But
you know what? That's true. You know, I mean, people like you and myself, pretty busy, and to be able to travel and to be able to do things when we want doesn't really happen, does it?
Well, see, it's pretty cool for me because I get to come out to my shop every day and play around and, you know, turn my studio mic on. And
that's different because
Daryl Bates, Bad Mojo, baby.
Bad Mojo.
And it's pretty cool. Passion Driven is what my show is called. And it's all about the passion that we feel in the industry, the things that we pull from one another, and the challenges that we overcome, and what we learn from one another.
You know, and that's true. You know, that is how I met you.
Yeah.
You know, is how we met is because you know, I followed you on Facebook. I seen the great things that you were doing.
Yeah.
And you know, one day when we came down here, I came down by myself. What was it, 3-4 years ago?
3-4 years ago.
I just just like text you and it was like, hey, I just wanted to meet you. You know, from Billings, Montana. You know, you know, it's like people don't even know where Montana is.
Is that in America? No.
What is that? Mountains where? So it's.
But dude, I knew who you were. That's the power of social
Exactly.
media. And that's the power of having a podcast and a show like this, is that we can reach so many different people. And it's not just the Facebook-derived crowd. And I love Facebook, trust me. I mean, it's been good to me. That's how we met, and many other of the friends and people in the industry. But when you have an XM radio station or you have a podcast, you have the ability to kind of supersede the normal platforms. Like in our industry, we got the same 5 or 6 or 7,000 people that follow all the groups. There's like 50 groups. You know, and they're all awesome. We need them all. But
great artists.
Yes, we've met one another that way. But there are other platforms that are up and coming that provide us a different way to reach out there and pull individuals into our industry, what we do. So I want to hear about what you do in Billings. What does Rocky Mountain Flooring do?
All right. So, you know, when we started Rocky Mountain, that's what we came up with the name. You know, we just did pretty much epoxy stone. You know, that's where we get the, you know, the name You'll Get Stoned.
Right.
And, you know, it's something that I fell in love with. It was something where you could take any concrete, didn't matter if it was crumbling, didn't matter if it was uneven. I mean, you know, like steps, you could have the corner broken off, you know, where the rail was sitting at, you know, for the last 20 years.
Right, seen plenty of that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, the steps are still good.
Yeah.
But here, you know, these concrete guys want to charge, I think, and, you know, in Billings, they're charging anywhere from about $2,500 to $3,000 just to take your steps out, which is like a basic, maybe 4 or 5 steps.
Right.
And, you know, re-put them back in. Well, the problem that you have is that concrete guys don't really fix anything after they take it out. So, you
We'll leave that for the next contract.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. And so, one of the things that we learned is we started just really rocking the world, you know, one step at a time, you know, one job at a time, and to be able to, you know, fix someone's problems like that, and to be able to put a beautiful coating on top that's 4 times stronger than the concrete itself.
See, that's the thing that gets me.
That's what's up.
Yeah, well, not only is it the beautification, so when I see your videos and I see what you create, and how beautiful these 2 tones and multiple color tones look, but it's not just that, it's structurally strong.
That's correct, structurally strong, but the biggest key point that we have in Montana, since we have snow, number 1, it's pervious.
Yeah.
So water flows through it. And everyone's always like, where's the water go, John? And I'm like, well, you know, think about it. If you have pitched concrete, which that's what we're always looking for is positive drainage, then the water's going to follow exactly what's underneath this, what the surface we're putting on, and it's going to trickle right to the grass, the street, the drain, wherever it needs to go, where it's supposed to go. And so it's a beautiful thing, and you're right, correct. The tones are coming out of the earth. They're rocks. They're real rocks that come around from the world. And so they're just crushed down into little small pebbles that we want, and then they're just mixed up in a binder, and then we just hand trowel them down, which is just beautiful, and it's correct.
I see the whole
beautiful look.
You guys do.
It's
big projects. Yeah, I know, right? Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, that's what we are. It's old school, so it's hard labor.
Yeah, but I like it. I like to see that. I mean, there's a reward to some of this hard labor. So one of the first things that I did in the industry was polish concrete, and it was the old mechanical polish. I shouldn't say the old style. It's still the best style in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of quicker versions, and I get it. On bigger floors, you need to be a little quicker in turnaround time. But the full mechanical polish is still a work of art to me. When you're doing 12 steps and you've got something that's finished with maybe even no guard at all, and it just looks like a polished diamond, there is a amount of pride and integrity to that. And I think that's what you're saying to me. You know what I mean?
If you want to break it down like that, that's exactly what I'm saying to you. It's an art. And it takes a lot to make something look so phenomenally flat, just like a piece of glass. So exactly, when you're polishing concrete and you know how to do it correctly,
right?
Oh my goodness, you can see that reflection. That reflection is so good, and that's what you're looking at. Yeah, that's what you're looking at. That's that passion that Daryl's talking about.
Did he just say sexy?
Sexy. So that is the deal. One of the things that I'd love to call one of my floors some days, or maybe a company. The dancing diamonds.
Dancing diamonds.
Because that's
a good one.
Yeah, that's what those floors look like when you're done. They look like this dancing diamonds all over the place, baby. We're in Vegas, right?
My bedroom. But that's the cool thing about Vegas, guys and girls, is that you can say anything you want to say and do anything you want to do. Should I look out my window and see somebody tiptoeing down the street in a pink tutu, I might not think too much about it, because it's Vegas, baby.
It's Vegas. That's right. You got to dress up.
I mean, that's not how I live, but
Really?
No. Don't be sharing too much.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Backdoor knowledge here, but what I see is a limitless future for what it is you're doing.
Honestly, there really is. The HardRock, which we call it, epoxy stone, was actually started, I think, back in the '60s. And
I would think,
Chattahoochee, if you remember that back in the day. Chattahoochee rock is what it was called, if I can remember correctly.
That goes back a ways.
Yep. And so, for the technology, and even, there was a job that I'd seen in Billings, I want to say. Actually, it was in Montana. It was right outside of Billings. It was laid down in, I want to say, the 70s. And so the job was literally, this is outdoor too, I'm not kidding you, this job was like...
And that's crazy, think about outdoor.
Like 30 or 40 years old, and it actually was still holding up.
I believe it.
And so when people want to say things about epoxy and this and that, I'm like, dude, you guys are absolutely out of your mind. I've seen this thing live, I've seen these things, in the flesh, and seen that this product holds up if it's maintained, if it's protected. And it is
applied right now.
Thank you. Yeah. If it is installed correctly.
We all
know that.
We all know that goes, right?
So endless. And so you think about this, we're going back to endless. Starting back in the '60s. What year is it now? This is 2020 now. Okay.
Is it?
Yeah. Right. Hold on.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh, it is. So you're talking, that's 60 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Okay, and it's kind of like everything, they go in waves. Well, this wave is kind of going back up again.
It is.
It's just like people love it. Going back to installed correctly, it will last.
Well, here's the thing about how popular all kinds of epoxy has become today. So, as you said, it's like bell bottoms. They come in and out, and in style. I still had a pair from when I was younger, and they're back in
mullets.
Style. Right. I'm done with a mullet, man. More mullets. But so I put an epoxy floor in my parents' bathroom maybe 10 years ago, and so my father is having some physical rehabilitation, and so these female and male nurses come to my mom and dad's house, and they help him rehabilitate his spine and his legs. So there's this male nurse from Minnesota. And he's a hockey player. My dad's been telling me all about him. He's a sports guy, right? And so this guy goes into the bathroom and he says, "Oh my God, who did this wonderful metallic epoxy floor?" So I mean, here's some random male nurse from Minnesota who knows exactly what, the first time he saw it, what metallic, epoxy is.
Right.
And I put it like a little river flow, It's just
nice.
it's just a small little bathroom, but it's beautiful. And it's held up. It's been extremely durable. My dad's a walker and stuff. It's held up great. But the idea is that the average individual now knows what metallic epoxy is.
That's
I mean,
correct.
there was a time not too long ago where that just didn't, what is that crap? But today, just about everybody knows what it is. So what does that mean? It means that its visibility, its marketability, and its usability has become friendly with just about everybody. So what does that do for us? A lot. It opens up endless avenues.
That's correct. And you look at things from, like you're saying, you look at things that people didn't even have a clue what metallics were.
Yeah.
They've been around for quite some time,
They
actually.
They have.
And now people are understanding because of, they can see it on their phones. They can see it on, Pinterest and all those other things.
We're doing our job.
It doesn't matter. So everyone's doing their job by posting and doing great work and throwing it out. And, it's, the times are changing. They say that, I think I was reading something about like 2023. It was going to be like an $18 trillion industry in coatings.
Yeah, I believe it in coatings in general because coatings is a broad spectrum and stroke, but I mean, whether it's paints or whether it's urethanes.
Correct.
But it's just a massive and ginormous industry as a whole.
And so you think about how that's, it started from back in the day to where it's at now. I mean, all of that is just growing and growing, and that's what we're looking for.
Technology's changing.
That's right.
And it's bringing us better opportunities and better products.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah. Like
and so when it comes to business, that's where we're keep jumping on the on the flow. We started out only doing hard rock. That was one of the things that we only did. We did not do nothing else. And as I started seeing things change and I started seeing stuff, get better, that's where the metallics came in. You're not going to be doing 100,000 square feet at a facility doing hard rock. But, you might do like a color flake, or you might do a color quartz floor. Sandblock.
Yeah, they can be
stuff like
ginormous. They can be really
so
big.
those are the things where it never ends. So that's what we do, is we keep jumping on different stuff. So that's what we've done, and we polish concrete now, which we didn't really do a lot of before. But it is popular. It's popular next year if you know how to do it correctly.
If you do it correctly. But it's also the very first job that I had the opportunity to polish concrete on, we had a 60,000 square feet, and I broke my cut my teeth on a big one, and it was a difficult one because it had an old asbestos glue mastic tile that was just crappy, and they had a mitigation team come in and remove it. And the concrete was so etched and horrible. But when we got done, what it did have, because this concrete was poured in the early 60s, is it had these ginormous river rock in it. And so when we were done, it was such a gorgeous floor, and the process of that was so appealing to me. It was so rewarding to me. And it's still, I don't know, we probably did this in 2010. I've been back many times, and I go back to that same place, Orchid International in Monroe, Wisconsin, and it looks just like I polished it just yesterday. And there's some...
doesn't that make you feel so good?
It does.
When you go back to those things.
You look like it kind of makes you like you're brilliant, like you're a genius.
Right.
What is guy doing?
Oh, look at that guy's an Einstein right over there.
I know, right?
And so that's kind of the way I feel, like we did a couple Albertsons like last year, I believe, or the year before, and we did I think a Safeway also. I just was actually did a Sinclair just a couple like a month ago. And the same thing, like when we go back to those places and we're traveling through Bozeman or whatever, and we stop by, or I'm like driving by the street and I can see through the window and I see that big still shining, and I'm like, oh man.
What's funny is that, if you ever been in the trades industry, whether it's concrete or construction or whatever, and you've got an older guy with you, let's say it's your father or uncle, it'd be like every building you drive by, I worked in that building back in '63. And that's kind of like us now. We drive by, hey, I did that. I did that floor there in 1984.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of funny, but there's just so much moving forward. I see this industry continuing to grow. A lot of people say it's going to reach a pinnacle at some point. I don't think so, because technology is different, and it's not just that. It's the social media platforms that we rely on that change it for us. Because what used to take weeks, months, or years for everyone to find out is on your Facebook page right in front of you tomorrow, if not later today.
That's correct.
Like by tomorrow, everybody's gonna know who you are now.
Oh man! Yeah.
No. No, but truthfully, we got a bright future in front of us.
It is, and it's amazing to see. Everybody, that we know and that we get to work with, and the things that we do on a daily basis. Because you're right, one day you might not know one trick that somebody does, and then within the next minute, within the next hour, boom.
And it helps us all. It really does push the industry further. What I like to do is find unique things. So if I look at what I've done and I say, okay, I've done this for a decade straight and I've gotten pretty good at it. But every time I go to a seminar, I'll find one group or one, and maybe it's the new guy that just come on in this group that's training at a seminar, and he's got a different way he does something that I have not seen before. And so we can learn from that. And so one of the things I preach on this show is how we can share all of our knowledge with one another. Because within that becomes a powerful tool. People respect you when you can share with your peers the things that you know.
That is correct. You just step your game up.
Yeah.
And it's respected, and that's what people are looking for. People are looking for honesty. People are looking for people that have, been in the game long enough that they understand, the weather, the problems,
the honesty,
everything that can come with, a job going backwards, and how to fix it correctly, and how to go, how to make it so that it's still going to get done in a timely manner, and that you're not going to get, either sued or yelled at or whatever, not paid,
right?
Whatever it may be. So it's a great thing to be able to, have something like this, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing, Daryl, that you have, gone so far since we talked and I met you, and look what you're doing now.
Yeah, I see the same from your camp, brother.
Thanks. So that's all we're trying to do. Being in Montana is we're kind of
the zone challenge.
That is a zone challenge. It's its own, but it's a zone challenge. because we're literally around nobody, and there's no really cities in Montana. We got towns, and so we live in Billings, which is the biggest town, and we're about 110,000 people, and it's a tough deal. You got to get a good name, you got to get good work, and you just got to understand one of the biggest problems: the weather. We have negative 30 degrees come in real quick, and then all of a sudden, in a couple hours, it'd be back down to, or it'd be back up to 50.
Yeah, that's a weather change. It's such a drastic weather
And so
change.
that's what you got to understand about like products, epoxies, and things like that. Is it going to be, when it gets shocked, is it going to be able to handle it and still be able to perform, or is it going to get brittled down and just fall apart?
Well, one of the things that I think we need to do in the industry is a better job of training and helping people understand their environmental circumstances. So different weather changes everything. So in Florida, the humidity is ridiculous. The heat is hot. In Vegas, it's so dry. And Phoenix, Arizona, other places like it. So the elements that we have to train and work in, we have to understand that there's probably a different product available for different areas that's more relevant. And I think that's pretty honest, is that we all need to really talk about that more often. What works where you're at might be entirely different. In fact, I'm almost certain it is. And what's going to work better in Las Vegas?
And that is true. That is the biggest deal.
There's not one hat that fits all.
And so that's
in my opinion.
That is correct. And so that's where we're stepping our game up, and we're actually, reaching out to people, and we actually do, we're franchising out and actually going to your place of business and doing the jobs with you to get you comfortable, to understand your climate, your surroundings, so that you are successful, that you don't have failure.
So if there's a company somewhere, whether it's in Florida or Georgia, and they want to give Mr. Johnny Angel a call and say, we would like to have you come down and consult and train with our crew and educate us, you can do that.
That's what we're doing now. That's correct.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, our first,
it is, though.
I met a guy on social media and got some product from me. He actually drove all the way from Washington and dropped it off in Montana because he was going through Yellowstone National Park. And then from there, he looked at some of the stuff that we were doing. He's like, hey, that really can fix these problems. And I was like, yeah, we put it over concrete all the time. That's, out in Washington, you have rain issues. So it's going to be, just washing out the concrete and making it, exposed little sand aggregate, and it's going to start deteriorating it. And it's like, no, you don't have to tear that out, man. We just rock the world. We just rock right over it. And so his first job he sold was $15,000.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And we went
beautiful.
out. Yeah, we went out and we went and handled the job with him. Did the job. The client absolutely loved it. Couldn't believe that this product would fix what he had. And boom, more jobs are coming his way. And so that's how easy it was. It wasn't hard at all.
So although you're based in Billings, Montana, your scope is much bigger than that.
Oh, worldwide, baby, just
Worldwide.
like Lisa.
Yeah. I like it that way.
Yeah, just like
also,
you.
I see you that on the other side of the coin. I see you in a what is that called? Where you raise and elevate concrete as it sinks. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you got going on?
Thank you. You know what?
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest things that if anybody understands doing work outdoors, is that you've got to get concrete to be able to be level.
Yeah.
Or you have to have positive drainage.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the biggest things is that concrete is going to move because we live in an earth that moves.
Yep.
Or excuse the world, the earth moves. And one of the things that you have problems with is that over a good rainfall, year after year, good snow season, the ground gets saturated.
Yep.
And so things start, barely kind of, get a little heavy over here and kind of, the ground gets washed away over there. So what it is, it's a polyurethane foam injection that you literally only drill about an inch. It's just a drill bit, drill right through the concrete, put this little port in it, attach this machine to it, and then boom, you just hit this gun and it just goes right into the ground and it just flows out.
And it'll actually level
That's
the whole
correct.
pad.
And so
That's brilliant.
it creates a foam within like 5 seconds, and it starts just raising and raising. And so you get to the point where you get trained on it and you understand how to pump it and do your thing with it and listen for it, and then you have stability. That's what you're doing, is you're stabilizing the soils underneath
Of it.
the concrete.
That's huge.
And so with that, then you're, to me, that's a home run hitter, right? That's a grand slam.
Yeah, it is. That's a big thing.
So if you can give somebody, your customers, that guarantee what they're looking for, that, is it going to move again? Is it going to break? Is it going to fall? I've fixed concrete that is 4 inches in height difference.
That's huge.
And so,
that's big.
and so what's your option? Tear it out.
Yeah.
Tear it out, replace it.
Yeah, but if you can do this, now you don't have to.
But usually when they tear it out, it happens within about a couple months later. Just the same thing
Same
happens.
thing happens again. Yeah.
So it's better technology. It's easier. It's cost efficient, and no maintenance once it's done.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So it just goes to show how many opportunities that you can garner in your business and grow as time goes on.
Yes, and so not only can you do it to help yourself with the decorative industry and do a coating over it, but you can just go help people, in new neighborhoods,
Yeah.
old neighborhoods, settled concrete. Don't matter, and it's a winner for everybody.
Sidewalks, patios, back entry. I mean, there's so many different methods. That
You've seen it.
Yeah. Growing up in Wisconsin, you bet. So I'm excited to finally get you here, Johnny, and I can't thank you enough for coming by,
Appreciate it.
sharing your future. I know you've got a bright one in front of you too, and one of these days soon, we'll drag our butt to you, and we'll do something cool on your premise.
Most definitely, you're welcome to come up anytime.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate
Always.
you coming by. And hey, share with the audience. How can we get a hold of you? How can we reach you? And
Yes. So, you can get us, let's see, on our website. We are Rocky Mountain HardRock Flooring. You can follow us on Facebook. Same thing, Rocky Mountain HardRock Flooring. And also on my social media, Johnny Angel. We got plenty of things going on, and you can always give us a call, check out the products that we have. And we're here to serve you, help you out, be successful.
So social media and all the other ways. I mean, this is how we can reach out and touch one another. That didn't sound right. You better not touch me.
Are you in Vegas still? Oh yeah.
If there wasn't any humor, what fun would this be? Johnny, you've touched me inappropriately. No, but no, but seriously, again, training, products, education, you need it, Johnny can help you out. So reach out, get a hold of him, and I tell you what, thanks again, everybody, for watching our show. Daryl Bates, Johnny Angel,
Bad Mojo Media.